welcome back to the Quick Speed Shop. I'm Josh, and today we're working on the Rail Dragster again, Deathtrap Rail Dragster. Last time, get the roll this out of the way, hold on a second. Vintage slicks out of the way. Last time I was working on the braking system, had a bad wheel cylinder, built a master cylinder mount with a handbrake, also hooked up the steering, world's longest drag link right here. And now, also, after that, I went and I assembled the body. I've had bits and pieces on it before. This is a 1922 Ford Model T Doctor's Coupe trunk. So the deck lid would be here and open this way, and then the back of the body of the coupe was here. The Doctor's Coupe was a cheap Model T that like the town doctor before hospitals to drive around and make house calls in. Well, they had hospitals, I guess, but he'd make house calls, and the Doctor's Coupe was a cheap version of the Model T coupe for making house calls, like very austere. So anyways, I bought this body at a estate sale for like 10 bucks or something. It's hanging in the attic of a garage. I tried selling it for a few years at Hershey. Nobody wanted it, so bam, cut it up. It's 101 years old. It's on the dragster. So I got it mounted up. It like zip screws on, and I'm going to make a hood sort of out of, I guess, some old weathered aluminum off a trailer. I'm going to use that for the top. But this is original 1922 Model T paint on there. 101 years old. I shortened the sail panel, tack welded it on, everything's mounted up here. So today, or in this video, I think I want to start, I got to build the throttle linkage, and I got to build the shifter to shift the Buick Dynaflow transmission. Got a Buick nail head here with a Dynaflow 2-speed transmission. And what I did after I put the body on is I believe this is like the mid-1930s Ford throttle linkage. I'm not sure. I think I've got it mounted backwards because the spring's not correct on it. But it's got the correct Z-bar action linkage here for the throttle. And so you can see your foot goes in there. Push down on that. And I've got to connect it up. I bent this rod a little bit here. And it's kind of lined up with the carburetor. So somehow we got to come off here. There's a bolt. Take that bolt off. And probably make a rod of like a little clip here. Come off there with a rod and get back down to this ball connection. So I went to my stash of various linkages and whatnot here. I got some kind of automatic transmission shifter linkage here. I'm not sure what this is out of. I can't remember. Something like that. And I got a linkage here. Must be a kick down or something for something. This is like an emergency brake. I think an early Ford emergency brake linkage here. And then I had this. Was this a governor? Yeah, this is a governor that was on a piece of equipment I had that was Ford powered. And let me see if I can find out how it works here. It's got a governor with a spring, and it would run at a certain RPM and hold the throttle. That's pretty cool. It's pretty old. Let's see if, there's a tag on it. Let's see if we can see what it says. Let me get some Scotch-Brite here. Let's see if I can read what it says here. Hold on a second. So what do we got here? Let's see if I can read it. It's a CW 1176 Pierce Governor Company, Anderson, Indiana. Serial number S459. Huh. Well, I have no idea what it came off of originally. See, it's got a homemade torched out bracket. But what it had on it, hooking to the throttle linkage here, is I had this throttle linkage, which has these little ball connectors in them. They're like an early Ford tie rod end where you thread in the end. And what you do is there's a little crosshair in here. You back it off with a screwdriver, and then see these little holes. When you're done, you put like a little piece of safety wire through there. But this should, yeah, there we go. This should go on here. And if I twist this back in, it should lock that on the ball. There we go. So now we've got a rod started. Let's see, this is going to be about here. Then you'll hit it with your foot. Boom, 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 boom. So that'll work out good. I think this has a spring in it too, somehow. Yeah, it's got some kind of spring-loaded action. What I think I need to do is these are threaded on. Is that fine thread? I might just be able to spin this end off and put it on a longer rod, but we got to get a rod from here to there to hook this up. And the engine's solid mounted, so there's not going to be any flex in it at all, so I can go with a solid rod, and it should be fine. It shouldn't want to move around, and then we'll get this throttle hooked up. So let me disassemble this. I'll tape this off. I'll take the bolt out of the carburetor, which somebody put in here, but sometimes it gets tangled up with a choke and holds the throttle wide open. I hit it like there. It stuck wide open once. That's bad. So we'll get rid of that, and I'll make up a new, find something to make a new rod. But we'll hook this throttle up and then sit in the car and see how it works. Bam. All right, so we're zooming along here. I hooked up a piece of 1/4-inch rod. I bent it 90 degrees and put it in the carburetor. I drilled a little hole in it, put a cotter pin in it, which somehow got bent over already. I don't know how that happened, but I've just got it taped here, just doing more proof of concept, but check it out. Bam. It works. It goes, it kicks down the transmission. So I'm going to put a mark where I need to cut it. Actually, I'm just going to, I don't have a die to tap it. I bet I could tap it to thread the end of this piece on, which I've lost already. Where did it go? Oh no. Hold on, I'm over here looking. Where is it? Is it over here? I had the end of the rod, but now I've misplaced it. That was a smart move. All right, so the end of this, I'll probably just, this is threaded, fine thread, but I don't have any way to tap it. So I'll probably just grind this rod and slip it up inside it. How far does it go up in there? So let's cut it about there-ish. Slip that inside there. I'll mark that right before the paint. But we'll just put that right on, and this rod should work fine. But yeah, it's going to work just fine. Probably won't even put a pedal down here in the ball. I'll just use my toe for what mountain I'm going to be driving it. But my next thing is the, which I can't do it tonight because it's getting too late, but I've got a bar bolted across the back of this throttle linkage on this panel here because it's super flexy. So I'm going to come off here. I'm going to weld on a piece of 1/4-inch round rod or something and come down and weld it 2 pieces to this tab, this bar, and mount this solid because this is all flexy right now. So I'll mount that up solid like that. Right, I ground the rod down a little bit and I put the end piece on here and I just jammed it into the threads. I'm just going to weld it right on, but I think it's going to be good here. Let's just cycle it this way. Oh yeah, no problem. So let me dig out the welder. I'm just going to weld this right on here. And we'll tighten this on. This will be going to be installed. I'll put the cotter pin in. We'll have our throttle linkage all done. Then we're going to move on to the shifter. I think I got a real simple idea how to shift the transmission. And that should be good to go. So let me wheel on out the welder. Oh, I'm not prepared. It's not plugged in. Son of a gun. Hold on a second. Woo! Might have welded that a little hot. Now I can shape it. But there we go. Let's try it out. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No problem. Look at that. Boom, 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 boom. Got it. Ouch. Got it. It's hot. Let that cool down, and then I'll just address it with a grinder. I just wanted to make it match a little bit. Should I paint this or just like leave it? I might leave this bare so it gets rusty like the other linkage, because then it will match. Maybe I'll wipe it down a little bit of oil, get some darkness on it. But that's gonna work. Now for the shifter linkage here, this is the first part of the linkage. It used to be down here in the transmission, and it would shift like this, and it was column shift. Oh, now it's stuck. Oh, that was the wrong end. It was actually believe this end goes in there. Anyways, I've got this rod here, and it's the same diameter as that. So what I want to do is I want to make a rod, and I already tried this out off camera, but I just have a rod, bend the end of it here, and what it's going to do is hook to the transmission, and then I'm going to weld a tab, I think, off of here, just like a piece of bar stock with a hole in it for this to go through, and essentially I'll just have a rod to pull straight back, and it would shift it all the way down this park and pull it out, you know, into gear, and then shift it back into park. So really all I got to do, I could cut the end of this and weld it onto here, which would probably be the smart thing to do, but I think I can just bend this rod over real fast. So let me try that, because this is plenty long enough. If not, we'll weld this on there. But let me bend the end over, and then we'll just make a rod to go down into here and have it shift right here under the dash. Okay, I think we're ready to fab here. I just made a little piece of flat stock. This is more my flat stock I've been using. It's pre-bent on the ends. I drilled a hole with a taper on both sides, so it's barely touching the rod in the center, so it'll give it some room to flex around. Now I'm just going to tack this right to the back of the dash tube here, kind of at some kind of an angle, and we're just going to try it. This is building on the fly. I'm not scared. Are you scared? I'm not scared. Here we go. Let's do it. Oh, I can't see what I'm doing now. Hold up. Right about there-ish. Looks good. I'm just gonna, oh yeah. Perfect, no problem with that. The only problem is I didn't turn the gas on. Whoops. Now we got a crappy weld. That was my bad right there. My bad. Now it's on there. Nice. That's perfect. Now, believe it or not, I just happen to have an old-time doorknob that's been on my workbench for 2 years in a little plastic bucket. And I filed some flats onto this bar, and we're just going to go kirk like that, and put a little cotter pin in it like that. Let me climb in this. Well, here, look at this. Ooh, that's hot. Oh, that's awesome. That's cool. Let me climb in this thing and I'll try it out. Probably should have tried it out before I fully welded it, but nope. Don't worry about it. Don't be scared. Ah. Hoop. Ah. Ah. Oh, this is awesome. Oh, yeah. Got full throttle action. Let's do it a shifter. Oh yeah, perfect. That's super cool. Ooh, that's hot. So it's in park. And then we bumper into reverse, neutral, drive, low. So all the way back is low. I might put a little bit of silicone on that so it doesn't vibrate, but can I still steer with it in low gear? Yep. That's super awesome. I can reach it under the steering wheel, pull it out of park, reverse. Oh, come on. Neutral, drive. That's cool. That works perfect. The rod is I got a cotter key that goes in that down there. We're already installed. Like I said, I'll put a little bit of silicone in this, just so this doesn't vibrate around, or it'll be fine either way. But man, that's super cool. I bent it away from my foot down here, so I got plenty of room for my foot to go in. Now we can shift our transmission. No problem. Man, that came out good. Got our throttle set up here. I got a lot of flex in the firewall, like I said earlier in the video. I'm just going to weld a couple little rods from one of these pipes down to that just to true that up. I mean, actually, it's not too bad. It just flexes a little bit. I probably just weld one rod near, but I'll do that right now. Okay, got everything painted up here under the hood. Got the knob on, pinned on. It's nice and tight. That works awesome. And I just welded another piece of strap steel from here to the firewall. Now the firewall is super stiff, no flex in the throttle linkage. I ground it down here. I think I'm just gonna oil this up a little bit and let it get natural finish on it like this one. In the back here, I just added a little doodad. A lot of these dragsters, you would have a push car and they would have a piece of wood bolted on the front bumper. I think I'm going to take this to the Syracuse Nationals this year behind my Studebaker truck. I'm going to build a frail trailer, what they used to call them, I guess. But a two-wheel trailer with just like channels that the dragster would sit on. If you Google old like pictures of 40s and 50s dry lakes cars and dragsters and stuff, you'll see all these things on these little homemade trailers called frail trailers. I'm going to build one of those. I'm going to tow this thing to the Syracuse Nationals behind my Studebaker truck, and I'm going to bolt a piece of plank on the front bumper of my truck, and it's going to be lined up the push in this. This is the push bar. A lot of times these cars either had direct drive transmissions or your in and out box where they'd have a clutch but a direct drive to the thing, so they'd push them up to the starting line and then they would run them down the track, and then they would go down to the other end with their push car and they'd push them back to the start line or back to the pits because they didn't have radiators and they would overheat if they ran too long. So you always see a push bar in the back. So I just made the simple one just for some round tubing and just welded it into the back. It's a little flimsy. It's not really meant for pushing on this car because it'll run. But what I did is, I don't know if you can see it, I took a hammer and I smashed the back of this tubing all up to make it look like it got pushed on since it was new tubing. And now we're going to do a little bit of Patina. I sprayed some red paint on under the black here. And I just want to take it and scuff it, and we're going to go down to bare in the center, and we're going to leave some red on the edges like it's been pushed on a whole bunch of times. And you're going to see the dents, and you're going to see some bare metal, and it's going to patina up real nice, just like it got pushed on 50 times. Look at that. I'm just going to kind of scratch up the rest of it a little bit. Boom, look at that. Instant patina, dense, and it'll sit out in the weather. This will rust up a little bit here, but it looks just like it's been pushed on 50 times at the start line and banged up and dented, and used to be, that could be red paint or red primer or whatever, but it's worn through. The blacks come off and you're down to bare metal with dents where it got pushed. So just a little detail there. I've been putting red on here. You see some red here, and I have yellow. The rear end used to be yellow, so I patinaed the black on the yellow. A lot of scratches and wear where you'd be stepping on it. And I put a little bit of yellow up here on the roll bar and kind of put some dirt in the paint, and I roughed it up and kind of scuffed it a little bit like it's yellow coming through. Basically what I'm trying to replicate is the tow bar that I'm going to include with this is black, and then you see red coming through. So I tried to replicate that kind of like this car was red and yellow originally, and then it got painted black, or they used parts. And I've got some yellow coming through because the tie rods are yellow. So I'm just trying to tie it all together, patina it up, rail can, some primer coming through on the spring, got some rust and red and black, and here got some red on here and a little bit of red on there, some red wearing through on the motor mounts where stuff will just get banged up. So that's why we're doing that. And here up on top of the bars where I get in the car, I rattle can some red on, and then the black, and I've worn it off. This is right where my hands go to get in the car, so I sanded it right down both sides through to the red. The paint's rough, got dirt in it here. I put some dirt in it with a rag, and then so you feel it's got texture. There's texture on here, and then sanded it smooth where it's wear. So I'm just trying to make it look like it was used a little bit. Once this thing sits outside for a while in the weather, I'm going to park it at my backyard gas station under the overhang, and it'll sit there on display during the summertime, and rain will blow in. I don't know if I'm going to leave I want to do the good engine here. Is a good 401. That's a $1,000 engine. I've tried to buy one. So what I want to do is take it running around for a while, take it to cruise nights and stuff, and fire it up into the couple of shows and have it running. I have a dummy, or not a dummy, but a junk 364 nail head. I think I'm going to pull the good 401 out of this and put a 364, just dummy it up and stick it in here, and then I might build like a log manifold and put like 6.2s on it and stuff. Then it can sit outside and just kind of weather natural, and I don't know. I kind of like the idea of it running and driving all the time, but I really don't want this engine to sit outside and get ruined. So most likely that won't happen. After the first year, it'll probably get a dummy motor stuck in it. But for the meantime, it's going to run and drive and be all cool like this. So yeah, that's that. I got another thing we're going to do. I mentioned the tow bar. I made some tow bar mounts, so we're going to mount them on the front axle. We'll line up the tow bar. I think I got enough room to do that. I'm going to take it to the Buffalo Motorama, display it with a tow bar. I'm going to bring it there on a trailer. It's way too far for me to tow bar this on the ground, especially in the wintertime, and the tires are dry rotted and the bearings are shot. So the tow bar is just for looks, but back in the day, people could have tow barred these. There's actually a picture of Don Garlitz out in, I think, Santa Ana or somewhere out in California. The first year he went out there, like 56 or so, and he's got his first dragster towing with a tow bar behind a 40 Ford Coupe that he had customized. That's a pretty cool picture, just flat towing his dragster with a 40 Ford Coupe. So I'll include the tow bar since I have it at the show. I'll probably just lay it under the card so you get the idea that it came with it. But glad all this stuff is working out pretty nice. Just kind of laying out good. The shifter works good. It looks neat with the doorknob in there. That's obviously something somebody could have done back in the day. They would have had plenty of these old style doorknobs, so that works good. And yeah, so that looks super cool, that little push bar. Okay, it's the next day, well, a couple days later. It's a weekend, I'm ready to work. So yeah, everything's dry here, the paint's all dry, the shifter and everything's all good. And did I show you? Yeah, I had the rest of the throttle rods on. I must have showed you that. I forget. I'm telling you again. Anyways, so I want to finish up the video. Like I said, I had a piece of like old trailer aluminum. I wanted to make a cover for this. So I went out, and the aluminum wasn't as wide as I thought it was, and it was going to be tight, and I found another piece was going to work. But then I found something even better. Check this out. Bam, right here. So I collect these old doors out of the junkyard off trucks with hand lettered signs on them. This is a 47 to 53 Chevy, or 47 to 54 Chevy truck door, and it's got the wing vent, so it's got to be 47, 48, I think. Anyways, the door, I pulled it off. It's junk on the bottom. That's actually a door. It's not too bad, but it needs a whole bottom on it. But we're going to do is, what I usually do is I cut the skins off them. Usually they're a lot worse than this. Usually they're really junk, and I just cut the skins off them. I make them into signs, and I hang them on the wall, which I haven't done because I haven't had time to do it. But anyways, we're going to take this skin and cut it off this door, and we're going to make the lid for this. I already measured it. All the words fit, and it's going to be like similar patina and kind of look like it was like sponsored way back in the day. It's perfect patina. And actually you can see the door was like dark blue maybe. But this is super cool. It looks like they painted this twice, or maybe somebody primered over it, because you see the gray on top of the white. So originally it must have been white. And it's super cool. Neighborhood paint store, painting and paper hanging. This guy must be busier than a one-arm paper hanger. That's all I got to say. And yeah, let's cut the skin off. And when I do these doors, I'll cut the skin off. Usually the inside is all junk, but then I cut the top off and I save that. If I ever wanted to have one of these trucks and I want to chop it, I'll have good door pieces. I got a lot of these Chevy doors, and yeah, it's a shame because this door is in pretty decent shape. Oh, right there. It must have been dark blue originally. There we go. Hold on. Before I cut it, let me look. let's look at the bottom. Because, it would be savable if you wanted to put a bottom on it, but you know what? Nope. Let's cut it up. Well, that was sacrilege, I know, but I think when we put this on here, it's gonna be super cool. Well, you get the idea. That's gonna work out good. So I gotta cut it again, get closer to the dimension here. And I got my brake handle is in the way. How we're gonna do this? Should I unbolt that? It'll probably be easier to get to go down. I gotta cut a hole for the master cylinder to go through. It's just gonna like zip screw, or actually I'd like to be able to slide it under here and zip screw through this. So let me unbolt the brake handle. We'll cut the hole in for that later. Gotta take the door handle off, which that's screwed in with screws that are rotted right off. Yeah, this door still got some primer on the inside of it. It's mint. Mint. Should leave the door handle on there just for grins and giggles, but we won't do that. So what we got here, we got about there to there, 24 inches. If I want to wrap it around, so I'll cut it like it. Cut it at like 25, and then I think this is about. So I take count for this. About 28 there, and like 26 there, right? Well, I'm gonna lay it out real fast and trim it up, and I'll set it on here. Man, how cool does this look, huh? I notched it so it fits right down in my the front panel here, and when I push this down to make the curve of the upper bar, it kind of locks it in. And I cut a round hole here for the steering column. After I zip screw this down, I'm gonna take my rubber mallet and roll this edge around over the bar, kind of make like a dashboard-ish. But this is super cool. I think I'm just gonna zip screw it right down to the top, over the top here. One there and one there, like three zip screws on each side. Let's try to measure it roughly. And I'll patina the top of the screws because they're brand new zip screws. It is what it is. I guess it could be riveted on, but I want it to be easily removable. And I don't have any rivets, so let's see. 24 divided by 3 would be 8 inches. 8, 16, nope. That I need to divide it by 4. So that'd be 6. 6, 12, 18. Nope. I had it right before. What am I doing? There and there. And we'll put one there. Get rid of that. And put one there. Close enough. Bam. Ooh, that's nice. Literally just like building a race car. Literally. Literally. Oh, there it goes. This is super cool. Oh yeah. Now this side, I obviously got to cut the hole for the brake handle, which, where's that going to be? Oh, right up here, perfect. And then I got to cut a hole for my master cylinder, which is in here somewhere, but we'll get this guy down first. This is so awesome, I can't even believe it. Man, that forms around right nice. So now, I don't even think we gotta put a screw in up here because that's like stressed down. So now the thing to do would be, we can just roll this by hand actually. Maybe. Oh, it's stiffer than I thought it was going to be. That's what she said. Let me get my mallet. Chevy sheet metal's tough. Why is that rolling so difficult? I need something to, a piece of wood, maybe, yes, right here. Here we go. Use all our body working techniques. Oh yeah, here we go. This is awesome. Probably leave it just about like that, right? So it cuts your leg in half when you're crashing at the racetrack. This is coming out fantastic. Oh yeah, that's awesome. Ow. So awesome. My hole is way off center on my steering hole. That's all right. Yeah, man. You know what? That's good enough. That is fantastic. Look at that. How cool is that? How cool is that? I can't even believe it. Now, you know what we got to do. Let's sit in it. Here we go. Hoop. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's awesome. Look at that. Man, you cannot see. There's a throttle. Put my foot over here. Yep, I can grab the shifter. I could trim just a little bit off. I gotta make my steering column hole bigger to make it more symmetrical because it's way off center. This actually needs to be bent around. I'm gonna form it just a little bit more off the body. I think I can. This needs to be rolled, but it's is what it is. It's fine. Lots of sharp edges to really cut you and kill you, but that's gonna be super trick. I'll draw out my mark. I'll put a hole here for the handle to stick through here somewhere. Then that master cylinder lid is over here. That'll get a hole sawed in it. But I'm glad I did this. 100% worth sacrificing that door to make this. This is so trick. Awesome. Well, bam, there we go. Got this guy on here. I just stuck the brake handle back in loosely just to, I cut a little slot around it. I decided not to cut the hole for the master cylinder. What I did is the cap, I ground the top of its aluminum. I ground it down at an angle so it clears under here. I won't have to put fluid in this thing more than just after bleeding the brakes with a new wheel cylinder. So it'll ride under here instead of having a big ugly hole in the top of this. But the lever is here for this. Everything's good. I drilled all my holes for my screws. I'm going to wait because I got to do some, finish the brakes and stuff. But this is like super awesome. I'm really glad I found this and cut that door up to make the top of this. It looks like we're sponsored up now by Neighborhood Paint Store and Paper Hangers in Geneva. So the patina matches real nice, and I think it's a good addition. So it's a lot nicer than just having a little piece of aluminum on here. So that's it. Next time, we're going to get into the engine. We're going to build some headers. I got some pieces of tubing to do that. And then once the headers are done, we can start working on engine, putting the distributor in, get the water pump in, make some kind of coolant system, either a reservoir or maybe I'll put a radiator on it. If I have one, it'll work. I'm not sure yet. But probably just a coolant reservoir. And then a fuel tank, plumb it, wire it, and this thing will be done, ready to fire. So, good progress in this video. Thanks for watching. Come back next time. More dragster action. We're having fun here. Bam. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe here at the Quick Speed Shop.